Well, it's been a while since I talked Clippers basketball on the channel. Been a long, long time. I didn't really talk Clippers basketball on the channel because why should I? They've been mediocre at best for the entire first half of the season. And I know I probably should have did a video about the trade deadline moves that they made, but regardless, we always have Clipper spaces. So if you want to get my understanding of the thoughts, go check out the Twitter spaces when it comes to Clippers. Anyways. There was big news now. Again, I was in Clipper Twitter spaces this morning, then I had some other stuff I had to take care of today. Um, but obviously, as I was funny enough reading the Dragon Ball Super manga chapter that came out today, so I could do it for my freaking main channel. What is it? Lo and behold, Russell Westbrook. The news has come out, and we find out who he was officially signing for, or signing the team he was going to sign with. So if you don't know the Russell Westbrook whole story, um, well, you should know it. It's like one of the biggest talking points. He played with the Lakers for 2 seasons after being traded there from Washington, and then guess what? Now, he ended up getting traded to the Utah Jazz, and the Jazz ended up buying him out. And obviously, there was 3 teams linked to Russell Westbrook, and that was the Chicago Bulls, the Miami Heat, and of course the Los Angeles Clippers. He ends up getting bought out, and practically Adrian Wojnarowski pretty much announces that Russell Westbrook is intending to sign with the Los Angeles Clippers. So, when the news came out, there was a lot of reactions over the TL of Clippers Twitter, you know, and things like that. Obviously, the Russell Westbrook stands, they're going over to Clippers Twitter alongside other Clipper fans. But I just kind of want to give you my thoughts. It's been quite a while since I gave my take on the situation, or which I made my take in the spaces and everything. But in reality, I really needed time to sit down and think about this, and I did. And now sitting down, thinking about the decision, the moves, and everything, I've kind of come to the realization of just dealing with what we have to offer with. Like, okay, we signed Russ. Now, my thoughts on the move, listen, it is what it is. I said even before we got the guy, hey, if he comes, well, we just got to deal with it. But we'll see. We got to hope for the best, even though maybe that the potential outcome is the Clippers aren't going to go anywhere now that they have Russell Westbrook. But, it is what it is. Now, again, I'm not no Russell Westbrook hater. I'm not going to go out there and blast the guy and freaking critique the guy and take personal shots at the guy. If anything, I'll just question his stuff on the court in terms of his play. Like, if you're going to, freaking ridicule him and make fun of him and things like that in regards to his personal life, listen, don't do that. That's like not nice. And what the Lakers did in terms of like scapegoating him that far, like he was the freaking problem. In reality, they had a multiple amount of issues across their team. That's kind of the thing. He was one issue for that team, but they made it seem like he was the problem. But it is what it is. I'm just taking the stance of, okay, I'm just gonna watch and see. But that's kind of the thing. So, let me try to pull up Russell Westbrook's stats for this year, so I can read them off to you guys. Stats this year. Uh, what is it? So, in the 52 games he played this season, he's averaging 15.9 points per game. He's shooting 41.7 from the field. He has 6.2 rebounds and 7.5 assists. That's kind of practically it and things like that. So um, it's it's just he's obviously the worst shooter on the team right now, especially from three. Like his 3 point percentage is not good. His free throw percentage isn't good either. That's kind of the thing. But Russell Westbrook's a hot and cold player. You take his good games and you'll just live with them, but then he can turn around and have a bad game. The turnovers can be quite an issue as well. But again, we have to deal with what we got to deal with. But, you know, Russell Westbrook to the Clippers, my internal thoughts is it's like I'm 50-50 on it. It's like, okay, I can understand why the Clippers did what they did, but at the same time, the other side of me is like, I don't see a fit. I don't think this is going to work. And I'm kind of leaning to the fact that I don't see the fit. I don't see how this is going to work. Now, again, we're going to see the game. We're going to see how they play. Now, if everything goes through, he clears his physical and everything. He'll be an official member of the Clippers. And I would expect him to play on Friday night against the Kings, which if he plays, then I'm more than likely going to go to that game just to see how the team looks. I hope he plays that game, things like that. So, look, on the outside, he doesn't have to move away from Los Angeles. He can stay where he's staying at right now. And it's just he's playing for the other team in the other building. Now, will this move work? I don't know. Don't really know. I have to see how it goes over a couple amount of games. Yes, I'll say this to Russ's to some of Russ's positives. He'll be able to push the floor up the court, push the ball up the court, and everything. He'll give us somewhat better transition than we didn't have. But even when we had John Wall, John Wall was still good in transition, things like that. But you know, we'll see. I do think he'll give us energy in terms of personality wise, in terms of inspire. I wouldn't say inspire guys, but getting guys to play and holding people accountable. I would feel like that would be the type of person he has is holding people accountable and things like that. I definitely don't think he's going to be vilified with the Clippers fan base, unless he's doing really, really crazy stuff compared to the Lakers fan base. And then, when you compare, as much as I don't like the Lakers, they have higher expectations because they're a more historic franchise compared to the Clippers, where, let's be honest, the Clippers, yeah, we have expectations of winning a championship this year, and that should always be the standard for this organization to go. But when you talk about the heightened sense, nobody, let's be honest, really, the way people talk in the media, they talk like they don't even give a crap. So you have lesser expectations and things like that. But that's kind of the thing there. It's going to be interesting to see how the fit goes as we go on to end off the back half of the season. Again, they only have 25 games left, so they're going to not only have to integrate the guys they just traded for, they're going to have to integrate Russell Westbrook in this whole possibility. Now, Russell Westbrook will give us also good rebounding as well. Really, the only thing I like is just him pushing the pace and then his rebounding, but everything else I really don't like. I don't like his shooting. I don't like his defense. I don't think he's a particular good defender. His turnovers are probably just as bad as Paul George's turnovers can be. But that's kind of the thing there. You just have to ride the roller coaster that is Russell Westbrook. And I can understand why some Clipper fans, they want to do their best to see the positives in this, but they really can't talk themselves into the positives. I understand. I've been trying to find ways to try to talk myself like, okay, maybe this could work. But then it's like, nah, I don't know, man. I just got to see it. And that's kind of the thing that sucks about the All-Star break. We have to wait till Friday. And if everything goes through and it's cleared to go, he should be playing on Friday night. Now, the question is, obviously, in this whole discussion, is this guy going to be starting for the Clippers? Now, my personal opinion, I would have him coming off the bench. I would have him come off the bench. I'd keep Terrence Mann in the starting lineup. And I'd keep the starting lineup as currently constructed. Although, I'd probably switch Marcus Morris out and either put in Nicholas Batum or Robert Covington in the starting lineup and put that there, and then you really solidified your starting lineup. So that could be the case. Or if you want to run the lineup, if you want Russell Westbrook to start so bad, just do it like this. You have Russell Westbrook at the point, uh, Terrence Mann at the 2, Paul George at the 3, Kawhi at the 4, and then Zubac at the 5. Simple right then and there. Then you push back Morris back to the bench. But it's going to be interesting to see what's this going to happen now. I personally will not be advocating him to start. And the reason why is because of minutes distribution. And for anybody that's not paying attention to the Clippers this year, Ty Lue has been very, and I mean very bad this year in terms of coaching, in terms of rotations, in terms of making adjustments. In the first half of the season, he would stick to playing his guys, aka Reggie Jackson and Marcus Morris, a lot of minutes. He would go 3-guard heavy lineups, sometimes 4-guard lineup heavy offense and things like that, and they would just be getting killed. The Clippers would be getting killed. Again, managing the rotation. Ty has done awful this year in the first half of the season. He has been bad. And if you listen to anybody on the national airways or anybody else talking about Ty Lue and some of the things he does, well, that doesn't apply to this year because everything they say he does, he's virtually done the opposite of. That was the main reason why Lawrence Frank and the front office traded away guys like a Luke Kennard, even though I didn't advocate for Luke Kennard to be traded, but it is what it is. The reason why they traded away Reggie Jackson away, most importantly, that was a move to try to save Ty from himself because Ty would be overplaying Reggie Jackson. And if you go look at Reggie Jackson's statistics this year, he has been awful. You go back and watch the entire first half, all the first half games of the Clippers season, Reggie Jackson, outside of a few number of games, which was like only a stretch where he was it was 4 or 5 game stretch where he was really good and he was at least a solid player for the Clippers. Guess what? He was atrocious in the other games and he had a really bad season. And Ty Lue constantly played Reggie Jackson over and over again, even though I was screaming at my TV, take him out. A bunch of other Clipper fans were like, take him out, and things like that. Guess what happened? He gets traded away to Charlotte for Mason Plumlee, and now he's bought out, and now he's going to be Denver's problem, the Denver Nuggets problem. So you make these trades and you facilitate these trades and everything. You bring back Plumlee, Eric Gordon, and Bones Highland, and then now you're adding Russ to the mix. So how's the minutes distribution going to happen? Whose minutes is Russell Westbrook going to be taking? And speaking of the minutes, honestly, objectively speaking, I want Russell Westbrook on this team to only have 20 minutes. I would only play Russell Westbrook 20 minutes. Now, you're saying, that sounds crazy. You want that guy to play just 20 minutes? Yes, because his negatives far outweigh the positives he can bring to this team. I'd only play him 20 minutes, and if anything, 25 would be the limit I'm pushing at. So I literally only go to 25 minutes. After 25 minutes is done, he's out of the game. I don't want to see him. I don't care if it's a clutch moment in late in games. I don't want to see this guy. I don't want to. I'd rather go with Terrence Mann, who's a more defensive point guard. And then 2, regardless, they're talking about ball handling. Kawhi and Paul George in the playoffs, they're going to be holding hand. The ball's going to be in their hands a majority of the time in the playoffs. So regardless in those late game situations, they're going to be walking the ball up the court anyways. So that's kind of the thing there. And that which it still to me makes this whole idea of a traditional point guard null and void because who the frick cares? We never had a traditional point guard when the Clippers got to the Western Conference Finals back in 2021. And then 2, who cares? Like I just mentioned, Kawhi and Paul George are going to more than likely be dribbling the ball up the court anyways. So what's the point in getting Russell Westbrook? We'll see. I definitely could see it, where an excuse is made, we didn't have Russ for a full season, so if we fall short of expectations, they're going to try to use that excuse. Personally, if it was me, I would not use that excuse. I'd say, please, you had more than enough time to get shit together. Who cares? At the end of the day, that's what you got to do. You got to coach and you got to integrate the players into what you need to integrate them into. But my last point is, thing is this: the Clippers already went to this season with high expectations to win a championship. Personally, I've said that this is the most important season in Clippers history with Kawhi and Paul George coming back. My God, no, Siri, don't do anything. Um, Kawhi and Paul George coming back off their injury, and practically, even though the title expectations were there, this move practically makes the title aspirations must win now. It was already must win to begin with before we got Russ, but when I mean must win, I'm talking about in all caps. Now, if you're saying why do I say that like that just because the Clippers signed Russell Westbrook, well, more background information. Ty Lue for practically this entire season has been clamoring that he wants this traditional point guard, this point guard that can run this dude's offense that apparently this offense is so masterful at, and it's just gonna open everything. He needs his traditional point guard to run the offense. Okay, then a few weeks ago, after Russ got traded, after the Clippers played the Warriors and they got the W in that game, Paul George, after a terrible performance going 8 for 23 from the field, he practically demanded or he clamored, he begged the front office to go get Russ and everything. And I didn't like that because, dude, you just, went 8 of 23 from the field. Why are you asking for your friend to come to this team after you played like shit? Even Marcus Morris, who played like dog crap in that game too, asked for Russell Westbrook. And the way that practically Paul George has been talking is it sounds like, well, guess what? He didn't like his whole role of handling the ball. Okay, that's fair, but at the same time, you got to adjust with what you got to do. And practically the way Paul George is making it sound like as if they get Russell Westbrook, well, then Paul George should be MVP Paul George. He should practically be averaging around 25 plus points per game, and he should be scoring the ball more efficiently on a consistent basis. Now, this move also puts a lot of guys on this team on watch alert. Paul George is definitely on watch alert. He's my number one go-to guy right now. And I know there's some Clipper fans that say you can't really blame Paul George. You're going to make Paul George the scapegoat out of this. Well, because guess what? Paul George is going to be the scapegoat out of this. Because he asked for this move, he wanted this move, and guess what? Lawrence Frank caved in and he gave Paul George what he wanted. Well, guess what? That means Paul George's ass is on watch alert. You can't be messing around, Paul George. No. You can't be messing around. I can't see this guy barely get to 20 points every single game. I got to see him get to 20 points on an efficient night where he's shooting the ball effectively. He's aggressive enough. If his shot is not falling in terms of a jump shot, you go to the basket, you go get yourself out, you go take yourself to the line, shoot some more mid-ranges, not threes. But most importantly, with the skill talent he has, he can get to the basket, go get some layups if the shot's not falling. So obviously that's a huge aspect. And then again, this guy's had and again for regular NBA fans don't understand, this guy's has had friends join this team every single year since he's been to the Clippers. Patrick Patterson was a good friend of his, and everything. Reggie Jackson is another good friend of his. John Wall, he was behind getting John Wall to Los Angeles. That was a good friend of him. And now Russell Westbrook, another best friend. So this is like the 4th or 5th best friend he's had Paul George has had in the tenure with the Clips. And like outside of Kawhi hasn't had anybody that he's associated with that he wanted. The only guy I can think of is Serge Ibaka. And then Norman Powell. Outside of those guys, Kawhi really never had a say on what guys he would like on the team, and we don't know if Kawhi wanted Russell Westbrook as well. He probably just saying, whatever, I guess if you want to go for it. Because that's his personality. He's just passive like that. But it's funny how the second star, he gets more of the say to get most of his friends to join the Clippers, but Kawhi can't get some of his people he knows, some of his friends to join the team. Now, at the end of the day, personally, a GM's got to do his job and build the team best fit, despite what the superstars want. But we're in a superstar-given league. If the superstar says, I want you to go out for this guy, well, then the freaking front office is going to say that because guess what? You don't want to ruffle the superstar's feathers and piss them off any more than they already have been pissed off. So yeah, but it puts Paul George on watch alert. And I don't care. I'll be calling Paul George out if we fail short of expectations and he does not show up. I'm not gonna really blame Russell Westbrook. Like if anything, I'm gonna blame Paul George a lot more. I'm gonna blame Tyronn Lue more. I'm gonna blame Lawrence Frank more. I already gave you my reasons about Paul George. Ty Lue, okay, this is the point guard you said you want. You got yourself a point guard, this ideal point guard you would like, and I think that would be the ideal point guard that Ty would want. All right, you better hope I hope you manage the rotations good. I hope if Russell Westbrook is playing bad basketball and he's not doing what he's supposed to be doing, he's playing outside the role that he needs to play into, well then guess what? Go put him on the bench and sit him down. Like, that's the point. And give minutes to somebody else that'll be more productive for the team. Plain and simple. That's what I want out of that's what I want out of Ty Lue. But falls short of expectations. Well, you got what you wanted. You wanted your point guard that you've been clamoring for. You fall flat of expectations, getting a chip, fired. Fired. Ty Lue should be fired. Paul George, if you're wondering what his outcome would be if they fall short of expectations, if I'm the front office, you look at heavily, I wouldn't say you look heavily, but you look into potentially trading him and be like, you know what, maybe this guy's more worth, getting assets in return, maybe getting a second star in return to pair alongside Kawhi Leonard than doing this because this guy, in some cases we can't trust him, and then two, he's inconsistent. There's games where he goes out there, he balls out. There's other games where he just is too passive. I don't want passive Paul George, or like I'd like to call him, passive P. I need aggressive P. And then Lawrence Frank, practically player, personnel guy, but he's technically like the GM, even though he isn't the GM. Honestly, he's the guy that caved in. He didn't have to listen to Paul George or any of the other players on the team, or Ty Lue. He could have said, "Listen, I just gave you these guys. We just traded for in the trade after the trade deadline was over. Play with what you got. You don't like the role you're going in? Well, then too damn bad. Man up and play some damn basketball. If this fails, you can make the case. Lawrence Frank should be fired. Outside of maybe Terrence Mann and Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, he hasn't drafted well. Getting certain players in free agency isn't good enough. Yeah, I can't blame him too much on the coach not playing certain players like a Robert Covington. But still, regardless, he probably should be fired because he's the guy that signed Russell Westbrook when he didn't have to. So, honestly, it should be a whole thing of cleaning house in terms of that entire front office. Plain and simple. Get better guys in there. Guys that can draft and scout and draft. Guys that can look at not only the current time in terms of signing a player to a contract, but looking at potential futures of where that may lie. So, yeah, but Russell Westbrook to the Clippers. Listen, I'm fine with what it is. What's done is done. I just hope for the best that we end up winning a chip because of it, because that would be the ultimate sign of hilariousness that he goes to the Clippers and he wins it all, and he couldn't do that with the Lakers and Laker fans, and even maybe some teammates were ridiculing him and things like that, and they were making him out to be the main problem. But we'll see where this goes. But like I said, man, from this point on, those three people I just mentioned, they're all on watch alert, especially Paul George, man. Especially Paul George. You got what you wanted for the 1,000th time. All right. No, it's put up or shut up time. Put up or shut up time. Now, you made your bed, hold your feet to the fire. And that's kind of the thing. I hope that a reporter would ask him, you do know with this move that you clamored, it does put a lot of pressure on you to come out there and perform. And I hope Paul George answers that question. I would like that question to be asked. A reporter, a Clippers beat reporter asking the question, hey, how happy you are with Russell Westbrook, and knowing that Russell Westbrook is here, how much does this heightens your expectations as a player going forward for this team to win a championship? Ask that question. So, anyways, that's kind of it. So those are my thoughts on the move. If you guys like the video, leave a like. Put in the comment section your thoughts on the move of Russell Westbrook going to the Clippers. Do you think it's going to work for the Clippers? Do you not think it's going to work for the Clippers or anything else? But anyways, guys, I'm going to get off here. Catch you guys in the next video. Till then, guys, stay safe out there and have a great rest of your day. Peace.